Let me introduce you to Khalid. Khalid is a small business owner. He owns an HVAC company, and he wanted to bring refrigerants to the United States. But when I met him, he lacked confidence because he wasn't sure he was following the necessary rules and regulations that is set by the U.S. government. And with proper guidance, he saved about $150,000 from penalties and fees that the government was going to cost him, including my services. I share Khalid's story because it teaches us the importance of learning rules and regulations while we gain financial security and have a share in their international market. Whether you are managing an overseas partnership or you have your own business or you want to earn an extra income, it's important to learn the rules and processes because first, it's good because you're getting the money. Second, because for example, we have trade wars with China. If you get products from China and you think, let me just buy an Etsy and I'm going to get it from there, the U.S. Customs will charge you 25% duty additional because it's a trade war. So it's important to make sure that you're doing it. I'm deeply passionate about this industry. Like when they introduced me, I did grow up in the supply chain world. And my parents are small business owners. Their stores make about $50,000 a year. And one thing I learned is when you were using DHL or FedEx, let's say they order 5 shipments. One of them is bound to be lost. And that one of those packages is $1,000. So if they order it 5 times, that's $5,000. That's very hurtful to their business. And me seeing my parents go through that bothered me. And I don't want that to happen to them. So I decided to take the matter in my own hands. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go into this industry for myself. Hi, my name is Sumaya Jibril. I am a risk mitigator in international trade. My company is Phoenix Global. And I am here to teach you today about a high-level overview about importing and exporting process. We're going to learn about what's importing, what's exporting, and how you can get money from it, how you can make money from it. And then we're going to learn about shipping routes and what rules are necessary to follow. So there are 2 types of importing, personal and commercial. And importing involves when you bring goods from overseas to the United States, from anywhere, considered import. I'll give you an example of how you can make money with baklavas. Anybody familiar with baklavas? They're Turkish delight. So in Turkey, when you purchase baklavas, they're per kilogram, it's $26.50. And let's say you purchase them for $500 and you ship it to the United States. Here, they're sold about $69 generally, and you could double your price here in the U.S. So when you include shipping, the duty rate, the ocean freight that's going to cost you if you ship it through ocean, which is $4.50 per kilogram, then you will make that net profit for that price. When you purchase it for $500, you're going to make $695. That means you're doubling the profit that you're bringing. That's including all the shipping charges. And that follows the same thing. If you go from 1,000 to 5,000, these are the prices. It will go from 600 to 1,000 to 2,000 to 6,000 to 7,000. And the things you can do are endless. All we have to do is get a FDA approval, a prior notice. We let them know, hey, this individual wants to bring this product to the United States. They approve your product and you're able to bring it and you can have your own company to be able to do it. Yes, so anybody has any questions about what's personal and commercial? Is there any confusion? So we talked about commercials, and if you bring it here to sell, personal, if you bring gifts, bags, or anything to the United States. One thing that you should know about personal importing is if you're a U.S. citizen or a lawful permanent resident. If it's personal and you bring the goods are under $800, you don't have to pay duty for it. So you don't need to smuggle it or hide it under the luggage to bring the product to the United States. It's duty free if it's under $800. And if you bring it from any of those islands, the limit you have is $1,600. We talked about what baklava is. It was made in the 15th century in Turkey. And my company partners with Sinan Dili. They're a Turkish restaurant and cafe that does the exporting of baklavas. So if people are interested, we're able to provide good sellers for them. So now we're going to talk about the step-by-step of how to import baklava to the United States. First thing is you need to research your product and the market. So you have to find, so basically market research for your business. Do you have clients? How are they willing to pay? What's their income? How are you going to market it? And then you have to decide, okay, if I have this amount, let's say you have 50 clients that are willing to purchase your baklava on a constant fee, then you go ahead and say, okay, I'm going to order only 200 pieces because that's all they could afford, and that's how much will be sold. And then the third step is FDA registration and approval. So the Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, they have strict rules when it comes to food, cosmetics, anything that you bring to the United States. So what they would want is like, okay, it's your first time importing, we're gonna want samples. So they were like, there's a prior notice form to fill out. You order the samples from overseas, Turkey in the situation, and we would let FDA know, hey, this individual's name is this is what they're importing it for, it's for commercial purposes, please approve. Once they approve it for you, then you are able to bring it to the United States. That's like the biggest hurdle there is just getting the FDA approval. And then if you can also get USDA approval, that's the U.S. Department of Agriculture, mentioning it organic, that will do its own marketing for you. So when you're selling it to your clients, you're saying, oh, it's organic, USDA approved it. Oh, it's safe because the Food and Drug Administration admitted it. So that's its own marketing that people will flock to you in this state of where like everybody's going for healthy and super organic. Even though it's sweet, it's not really that good for us if we consume it. But people love organic. And then the fourth step is to receive a quote. Well, for example, if you decide to do ocean, it's a lot cheaper. It's around $4.50 per kilogram, and they ask you maximum to have 30 kilograms of product. But if you do FedEx or DHL, it's around $6.50, $7.50 per kilogram. So a lot more expensive, but it gets here faster. And then number 6 is customs clearance. So you would get a licensed customs broker to clear your products for you at the border. So they don't physically clear the border, but they have a system that customs, because they license them, they give them the documentation needed to clear your products for you. And the final step is, you pay the duties, your goods are cleared, the final step is the delivery to your doorstep. And then you get to sell to your customers. Any questions on this one? Yes?
The FDA approval, is that different if you get something approved? Is the process different getting it approved within the states versus importing something, or is it standards for approval in the state?
They're different. Because it's in the state, before you even open a restaurant, you need to get FDA approval for the foods that you're going to sell. So they're going to come and inspect your place of work to make sure that it's compliant. So if you're selling something perishable, you have to have a place to hold those perishable products in. But with overseas, it's a lot more restrictive because they don't follow U.S. guidelines. Does that answer your question? And then this is the cost and profit analysis. So when I went to Turkey late last year, that's what I got. They were like per kilogram, we could sell it for me $20 to $33. So the $33, that's when the high-end baklava, they're really, really delicious. And then when I did my market research for you guys, and I asked the shops how much did I sell it for, they're like, we sell it for $60 to $69. And generally the duty rate for the baklava is 4.5%. And as I discussed, if let's say you decide to bring a 40-feet container, the price would be between $4,500 to $4,800. And if you do DHL FedEx, they just charge you per kilogram. And then if you are worried about if the seller is trustworthy, then we have companies, including mine, to help you to achieve that. So before before we go to exporting, does anybody have any questions about importing? Good question. Yes, the FDA charges you about $100 to do the FDA approval, the prior notice. And then the USDA, a few $100s gonna charge you. And then the custom broker that clears your goods is gonna charge you fees, is probably around $250. So at the beginning, could be a little bit costly, but down the line, it's something you don't have to worry about any of it. You don't have to do it again. So just think of it like you're investing in your business. And if you believe in your business, you believe it's worth it, then I think it's the best investment that you should do. Anybody else about important this?
In terms of food contact at the USDA customer orders, how do you find that information?
I'll provide that to you, for all this information. There would be yes, there's Environmental Protection Agency, there's various federal agencies that will be able to help you with that. You have to follow their guidelines.
So one more question. Is that the approval recurrent? I mean, does that have an expiry date? For example, let's say you get another shipment after a year, you have to go back here again and then inspect and then issue a new certification.
Usually if things change on the supplier, and then because the regulations can change each year, it depends. But if that supplier of yours follows FDA guidelines, they will give you paperwork. This person needs to make sure that they're following this is okay, as long as that stays consistent.
Right.
But it varies, I don't want to give you a definite answer. Yes.
Will the FDA be in contact with the supplier?
So the FDA would be in contact with your customs broker who's dealing this with you. And then your customs broker will talk to you like, okay, this is what I need from you to get from your supplier. So you don't have to, you just have to trust your customs broker to be able to do the work for you. But I just want you guys to be aware. You don't have to do this yourself. You've got licensed individuals to do it. But it's important that you be aware because we shouldn't trust individuals blindly. You want to know and you want to be able to question it. Because at the end of the day with U.S. Customs, at the end of the day, you are the importer, you're responsible. Let's say you hire a customs broker and you say, here you go, pay the duty for me. If he doesn't pay it, you're still responsible. Yeah, you can report the broker and say you're punished, but you're still liable at the end of the day. So it's really important you know at the basic level of what you're doing. What is exporting? So this next I'm going to talk about exporting, and I'm going to explain in detail like I did, step by step, with an example of a car. Exporting is when you take things outside the United States. And it's not just things, but it's also services like technology, servers, source codes, cars, clothes. Like Europeans, they love our jeans, so they export it from here a lot. I'm going to give you an example of how to make money exporting. This is my favorite topic. Okay, so not the money, I mean that too. I meant the car. So, for example, let's say you buy a Toyota Camry at an auction for $12,000. Overseas, especially, give me 1 second. I want to make sure I get the country correct. Who likes to buy trucks? So Dubai, let's say you want to export this to Dubai. So Dubai, they like their Toyota Camry, they're like their Corolla. And if you buy a $12,000 here, you can sell it at 40% more in Dubai if you have the proper buyer over there. And someone who's willing to find you those buyers and sell it for you. And 40% is just at the minimum so that you guys don't get your hopes up when you say 100%. But it definitely goes 40% or up. Because they love U.S. cars. They love the ones that are auctioned. They go and fix it up and make it like new and sell it for a lot more. And then, so like I said, if you buy a $12,000, you can make about $4,800 in profit margin. With Corolla, same thing, $4,200. And let me see. For Libya, there are cars that are being exported to Libya. and they love high demand. They have a high demand for SUVs, such as Kia Sorento, Sportage, Hyundai, Tundra. And they're a lot higher. You can make more, like $7,000. You can sell it for extra $7,000. Like I said, it goes 40% and more. In Saudi Arabia, they love luxury cars. Don't you dare take the crappy cars because they will not accept it, and it will be a waste of money. They like their Mercedes, they like their luxury. So as long as you're able to afford that, you'll be able to sell it double the price. Like the Jeep that I have, my vehicle, here it's like, it was like 20,000, but in Turkey it was like 40-something thousand dollars. Because exporting is a lot expensive for them, so they double the price. And then Jordan, it's less recommended because the Chinese are taking over. So the Chinese cars are being shipped more to Jordan, so I wouldn't recommend it, but if you want to do it, it's Ford Fusion, Dodge, Hyundai, Santa Fe, and Jeep. Any questions about the cars? Yes, in the United States, there was it went from the export money went from $329 billion to $1 trillion dollars that goods were sold outside of the United States. And we have so much that we take for granted here in the United States that the other countries love, like our technology, like our iPhones. Like when I was in Egypt, the iPhone we buy here for $800, you buy it there probably $1,300, $1,400, $1,500. Just the basic, not even the new ones. So there's so many things that if we just look around, stop, and stay present, we can find to send overseas and stuff and make business. And the United States bought about $496 billion to $2.8 trillion to the United States. And this is happening because our economy is getting better, and electronics and price for energy is a lot higher. So before I go step by step to exporting, any questions on what I talked about? Sure. So the first step when you're exporting a vehicle. So there are many steps to exporting products out of the United States, but this is just an example of high overview. You need to understand the export requirements for the United States and the destination country. So you need your title, your registration, bill of sale, export declaration form, proof of ownership. So if you bought it from let's say somebody gifted to you, there'll be gift of sale. You bought it at an auction, you need to show those kind of documents. And then, so if you decide to take the vehicle yourself outside the United States, you need to present it at the United States border. When we think border, we're not thinking Mexico. So there's ports, there's the Dallas port, there's so many ports all over the United States. It's very close. And then before you take the vehicle to the border, 72 hours prior, you need to file the electronic export information. It's automated export system. Like again, you don't have to do that. Somebody else can do it for you, just so you know. And then number 5, you need to arrange transportation. Choose a shipping method. Are we doing a container? Are we doing cargo air? We just need to choose and choose a shipping company wisely. And shipping by sea is a lot cheaper, always. But it takes longer, but cheaper. And then you need to do the customs clearance. So when you're taking it outside the United States, you need to pay duties required for that vehicle based on its price, where it's going, what's your status with customs. Are you a good exporter? Are you a good importer? Have you paid your duties before? They take consideration of all of that when you're exporting or importing a product. And then the step number 7 is final delivery. Make sure that the person that oversees, you trust them, they can deliver it to the right location, and make sure you get your money and you have proper handling. All right, so any questions about the steps?
Specifically on exporting cars, is it true that U.S. doesn't charge any exporting fees?
U.S. doesn't, but it depends on the vehicle and how you purchased it, and if it's commercial, but all it's case by case. Because importing is when you're charged duties, but if you're exporting, it depends on your status. Are you a U.S. citizen? Are you a lawful permanent resident? Are you a foreign national? But all will depend. All the case by case. Yes, like we talked about, Dubai, Libya, Saudi Arabia, Jordan are the popular export destinations. I think we can move from this. Now we're gonna discuss the shipping methods. There are three of them: postal service, the courier, shipping, air freight, and sea freight. So obviously, the postal service cannot export your vehicle for you. They just deal with packages, but they do smaller packages and documents. They're a lot. If you, let's say you wanna send overseas, we usually start about $80, and then it goes up higher. You send like a document or a small package. And if it's lightweight, again, they offer affordable rates. They're cheaper, but it's based on location and the product that how sensitive it is, and how fast you want to do it. The courier shipping are, like I said, DHL, FedEx, UPS. They're fast and reliable, so usually within a week, you'll be able to get your product here and even send it overseas. So if you have perishable or urgent goods, you'll be able to use that. I would recommend using those companies. And then you're able to track your services. It's door-to-door delivery option. It is more expensive, but quicker. And then the third one, I decided to get sea seems to be my favorite. I love sea freight. They're good for transporting large volume of goods. So a lot of people import luggages and export luggages and the vehicles, so they're not in a rush. And as they get at an affordable price, and they can sell a lot more here in the United States or overseas. It's economically feasible, longer time, and then again, price varies based on vehicle weight and shipping distance. But it usually does not go above $4,800. More than it doesn't go. If you're exporting a vehicle, it should not go more than $4,800. So unless it's like maybe till the end of the world, you're sending this vehicle, that freight forward is cheating you, so it shouldn't cost more than that. Alright, anybody has any questions about exporting vehicles, the shipping methods?
With the shipping by sea, how much longer?
So usually it's like 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. It depends if it's a closer country, probably like 1 or 2 weeks. But when I'm talking faster with the couriers, it's like 3 weeks. Yeah.
Shipping costs, I want to export funds to Dubai, but when I talk contact with companies, they're giving me my prices over, I would say 1,000, 1,500, the company is 4,000.
So at the end, we have partners. We have a freight forwarder partner that will be able to export these products for you and give you these US prices. Because I did say from $4,500 to $4,800. But it can get lower, sometimes to $3,500. We'll discuss it more if the rest of the presentation does not answer for you. Containers. It's in a big container. It depends which container you choose. So if it's like, if it's 40, it ships a lot more cars, because a lot of people ship to Africa, but I don't have the specific number for you, but I can get that to you. It depends where it's going. It depends on your freight forwarder. So you have to discuss that with them and the country. I don't like to give clear-cut answers at the spot, because then we need to discuss, I need to know what you're talking about, where you're sending it, and then I can give you that. Sounds good? Yes.
A new business that you don't know about the business, and you want to do so some companies provide you a how to get this information and what is the step by step to do this thing.
I'll get to it. I don't get to it. I'll let you know everything you need to know to start your business. Okay? Thank you. So here's your checklist. This is your question. Answer your question. The first things first, I cannot stress this enough. You need to have a business plan. You cannot start without a business plan. Don't be like, oh, this is my community. I know them. They'll buy from me. They won't. Don't do it. But do a serious business plan. It's not just sitting down behind a computer and writing. No, it's actually going to customers, talking to them, talking to suppliers, doing your market research, getting these IBIS World reports that tells you What is the situation with importing baklava and what's that market like? What is the situation with exporting? How has it gone better or worse over the years? So market research, market research, market research. So that's the first thing. And after that, that's why businesses fail. They don't have a good business plan. And then the business plan also includes the financials. How much are you gonna make in the next 5 years? And when I was doing my business plan for my company, I've changed my plan so many times. I'd be like, okay, so if I do this, I will do a lot more money. Let me divert. And sometimes your customers can shape where you go with your business, and that's okay, as long as you don't let them take over completely. And then the legal and regulatory compliance. That's when you need to know the import and export regulations. Then you need to register your business with your state and obtain permits, like with food, perishable, cosmetics, things like that. You need permits. And then you need to comply with trade agreements and restrictions. Trade agreements is also another favorite. For example, the NAFTA, between Canada and America and Mexico, there's a trade agreement. If you bring goods from there, most of them are duty free. There's few exceptions, but most of them are duty free, and you can just bring them from here. And so if you know, like with Morocco, there's a free trade agreement. There's a lot of Middle Eastern countries that have free trade agreements. If you're selective of where you import from, all those duties that I talked about, you can avoid it. And that means if you make what? More money. We like it. And then the supplier and partner selection. It's really important. So with customs broker, for example, their partners is freight forwarders. Because the customs broker clear the goods, the freight forwarders do the shipping and the transportation. So it's really important that you trust this individual. Especially with freight forwarding, there's a lot of under the table because people pay cash. So it's really important to stay ethical. Those freight forwarders you choose are ethical and stay within line. And then you need to establish partnerships. So, like I said, freight forwarders and customs brokers are friends. They work together. You never want to. So let's say you import baklava and your friend does too. You don't want to partner with him because you're competing. At some point, somebody's going to get threatened, and it doesn't work. And they're taking your ideas, or you're taking their ideas. It's messy. Stay away from it. And don't be partners in business with your friends. They're my friends. Our ethics align. They do not. You will find out the hard way. Negotiate terms and agreements. Have everything in writing. Have everything in writing, so that when the government comes knocking on your door, you can say, look, I did it. I took the course, I took the certification, I spoke with this individual, I made them sign, so everything needs to be documented, carefully written, instead of just communication. And if you don't write it, report it. And then the product sourcing and quality assurance, make sure that the quality meets the U.S. standards. And you verify the product quality and compliance, and conduct inspection or testing. This is what usually happens. Because we have a Tier 4 with China, what they would do is they would get people start doing this, they bring their product from China, like half of it. I give an example. This jacket. Let's say I bring this jacket from China, but the buttons, I do them in Mexico. So when I get to Mexico, I'm like, oh, this is made in Mexico. And I go ahead and get free trade agreement because it's duty free. So now, customs gonna get to you like, oh, it's not really from China because the majority of it, it's not really from Mexico because the majority of it is from China. So now you're paying penalties. Because what they're doing in China is the government helps their citizens, they give them a lot of money to start their import and export business and help them with their supplies. So when they bring it here, they sell it at a lower price. So you're selling shoes in the United States and you sell them for $30. And the Chinese companies and individuals are coming here and selling them for $50 and undercutting the U.S. market and you. So the U.S. government is trying to protect your business and the U.S. market. So that's why they charge them heavily, but you cannot claim ignorance when products are being imported to the United States. And you're like, oh, I bought it in Mexico. Did you see where it was made? Did you see did you steal it? They want to know every little detail. And that's where you need expert guidance to make sure that they check these products for you. And number 5 is financial planning. Businesses cost money. I thought that was personal. They cost money. You probably hear online, they're like, no, just start a business. It's so easy, register it and you're gonna be good. They're lying to you. There's the marketing, there is the lawyers, there is the trademark for your product. There's going out there and networking with individuals, bringing your products to the United States. There's so many aspects to it. So save your money. And if you're gonna get loans, I prefer, it's tricky, but I prefer like family and friends because it's interest free instead of a bank. But you really have to have like a solid relationship with them. And I make sure I get a rent agreement when we have those loans. I'm like, okay, I'll pay you within a year. And here's the rent agreement. There's no, I trust you. No. When it comes to money, the shaitan gets involved. So have that written agreement, okay? And then, again, develop risk mitigation strategies. That means having advisors in the customs industry advise you on what you need to do to prevent any costly mistakes with the U.S. government. And then, again, we arrange transportation. We're going to select shipping methods. It's not just for now, but in the future, what's going to be good for you, what's going to be good for your company. How can you afford it in the long term? And we talk about marketing plan and sales strategy. And they have really good, like, online videos about selling to people, how to market to them. And one of those days I might come and actually help you guys do like a step-by-step how to develop a marketing plan. And the other one is the customer supported. Let's make sure that you're talking to your customers, don't assume anything. And what I've learned is just things are gonna happen with this international trade, but if you let them know, like I hear you, and you set expectations. So when I was working with U.S. Customs and Border Protection, product used to be held up in customs for 45 business days. Customs has the right to hold the product. But that happens because people didn't file the proper paperwork, or they forgot to file it altogether. And then they would be like, my customer is angry at me. What am I going to do? And I would be like, well, you have to let them know you have 45 business days, and that's like 90 days. So you have no other option. So you need to set expectations with your customer. That's important to work with a good advisor, a customer broker, and let them know, hey, we could do all the best we can, but things can happen, and it could take this many days. When people have expectations, not just in business, but in general, it's clear expectations, there's less problems because you notify them and they agree to it at the beginning. People get angry when they feel betrayed and misled. And always monitor market trends, like how people are going like, oh, healthy, and then you're bringing unhealthy stuff, but things are not going to be sold. So you always have to find ways to market your product and your business and seek feedback and improvement from people, not people who tell you, because when you're in business, especially when you grow up with people or they've been around you and you do business, they're like, oh my God, you're doing such a great job. But at some point they have rose-colored glasses. Because they're like, you're their son or daughter, and they're like, oh my God, you're such a... No, you need to have people who tell you the hard truth. That sometimes you're not doing a good job. You need to improve this. You always want to surround yourself around what you need. And then always stay informed about industry developments. And you'll find that in the government websites. And if at the end you guys scan the QR code, we always send industry updates, what you need to know, because things change at a moment's notice, and you want to be up to date. Remember Khalid? Khalid is the one that was scared and lacked confidence at the beginning with his HVAC company. What was really happening in that scenario is that he wanted to bring those refrigerants to the United States, but the Environmental Protection Agency is trying to phase out due to going green, and they're trying to phase out giving people access to chemicals. So what they did is they sold those allowances until 2028 to other companies. So what Khalid had to do is buy these allowances from these individuals, and they cost about $91,000. And that process can take months for you to get access to buy these allowances from these companies. In the meantime, his products will be held up in customs because they're refrigerants, they have to be in a controlled warehouse. And that costs them money on the daily. And because I'm doing the paperwork for him, so is Phoenix Global, my company, it's gonna cost him, his fees are gonna incur, and that's how we came up with the $150,000. Because he had proper guidance, he didn't have to pay the $150,000 and causing his business to fail. Khalid chose to do his due diligence and chose Phoenix Global, and he saved himself and his company $150K in fees and penalties. Any questions? I know this information is a lot, so I'm happy to answer.
How do you visually like AI how do you that for you when it comes to competitors that don't utilize that for the market? How do you stay on top and how do you do it?
Allah is helping me a lot. And I go to Dr. Hajjaj and Dr. Hijra every Sunday, and then just kind of like to learn Islamic ethics. But then it's also differentiating myself from the people, from the market. Because, okay, so with customs brokers, there are about 16,000 of us. That's in the United States, and millions of people import and export. So there's a scarcity there. So it's hard for people to compete with me. But there are bigger companies who would hire, let's say, a custom broker or two, but they would have assistants to cover everything that they will run circles around. But what differentiates me from them is my brand, who I am. Because I am for small businesses, for family businesses, to make sure that they're not overlooked. So because, again, to mention my parents' situation, because they're a small company, they would call DHL like, I lost my package. And they would just be like, another customer service, robot, and they deny it. So what I do is like, all right, I was like, okay, so instead of woe is me, I'm like, how do I analyze the market? Because I'm here to dominate the market, not to compete with anybody. So I'm like, okay, these big agencies, they have this ego, they have this pride, the most hated thing with Allah, right? And they're just putting all their eggs in this big basket, this big company. But I'm watching that, I'm like, okay, all I have to do is come under and get all these more customers and make them, treat them like family because they are, and take care of them, and then also take care of my big company. So if you are the brand, you individually, we all have unique skills and gifts. So if you recognize that, people are buying from you, not, they don't, who are you besides your product and services? If you can define that, then you'll be able to stay competitive no matter what happens. Now I'm going to talk about my company. So my company is Phoenix Global, the risk mitigating company. We offer import and export consulting, so from the beginning to end. Anything you want to look, I'm just starting a business, what do? This is the step you need to take. This is the paperwork you need to file, or we could file for you. This is how I can help you. Or either I can help you, or I could partner to help you help yourself. So if I help you at the beginning, it might cost you more, and at the end you get all the profits to yourself. But if you do partner, then it'll cost you less, but at the long term, even though you're making profit, you're not going to make as much. And then we do risk mitigation. One of the studies is, there was an Intel Incorporated. They have two companies in the United States. One, I believe it was in Virginia, and one is in California. So what they did was they sent their servers and schematics to California. But those people who were working for them were Russian individuals. So the United States were like, you exported this product from the United States. They were like, no, we didn't. This product is still in the US. Because these individuals are Russian individuals, it's considered exporting. So what we do is with export compliance, we screen these individuals to make sure they're not on the terror watch list. They did not violate any export or import compliance issue with the government, to make sure that you're protected. We're all on the prevention side. We're gonna make sure we do all the due diligence so your package is not stuck in the customs for 45 business days. You're not getting in trouble for people you did not screen, and you're not getting fined by the US government. And because I'm not sure whether it's intentionally or unintentionally, but they make everything so complex and they make you solely responsible. And that, I find that unethical. And that's why I try to protect my community from that. And then we do customs brokerage, customs bond, customs clearance. So let's say you have a company, your record is publicly available, the manifest confidentiality to the trade. So if you don't want that to happen, you'd be like, hey, Sumaya, can you please file this manifest confidentiality for me so people don't know what I'm importing and exporting. My competitors don't see what I'm doing. We'll be able to do that for you. And then we get bundles for new importers on our website. It would be like, if you get 2 sessions and a consulting, and we do this clearance for you, it's this amount. If you do bundles, you save about 5 to 28% on the actual price that we charge individually. And then I'm also working on handbooks, how to import I just recently did a how to import a dog because the CDC is having strict regulation for dogs coming to the United States because there's a lot of high-risk countries. Saudi Arabia is one of those high-risk countries. So you need to quarantine your dogs here, and people love their dogs in America. So we gotta make sure that they can bring their dogs here. And the next thing would be like how to import textiles, how to import cosmetics, how to import anything you can think of. If you guys have suggestions, just email to me and I'll create the handbook so you guys have the prior knowledge to be ready to import. And you'll always need expert guidance, but if there are small things you don't, you can do it yourself and it won't cost you as much. Yes, so this is, yes, an additional thing we're offering is in June 15, there's a course that I'm starting, Importing 101. It'll give you every basic thing you need to know about how to import, what duties you have to pay, what is classification, because, let's see, okay, this plastic cup, if it's coming from overseas, it has a classification, a code. Let's say it's 2154 610 12. So it would be like, okay, how do you define it? Well, it's a plastic bag, it's a plastic cup that has a straw, it has a cup, so then it falls under this classification category. And because of it, the duty is 5% or 10% or 20%. Or because it's from China, it's 25%. So these are the classifications that we're going to go overview in the course, how to classify the product and determine what is the best product to bring to the United States and how much it's going to cost you. So this is if you want to sign up to the course, because you attended the seminar, you get $50 off. And then this is to click on this, put your contact information, send it to us, and then we'll be able to provide you with continuous industry updates. And the course is about $347. The online course is self-paced, and once you're done with the course, that's one of my prerequisites, is that you actually familiarize yourself with foundational information and knowledge about importing. And then after you're done with that, then I see that you have some skin in the game and that you're ready to commit. I'll give you a 1-hour assessment to consult with you with whatever you want to import to the United States and what steps you can take moving forward. And this is my contact information. Like I said, reach out to me. And then this website here, you can reach in this email, but also if you go to htslookup.com, that's the HTS, the classification code. You could put anything. You could put phone, and then it would be like, this is the classification for it, and this is the duty rate. Anything you can think of. After, I think, maybe once they'll ask you for your email address, but after that, it's unlimited. Like, you could think, I don't know, anything, purse, and just put purse, and it'll be like, okay, if it's this purse with this description, this is the duty rate, and it'll just give you what you need, and you could just have a field day with it. I'm a little bit nerdy about this, so maybe I would have a field day, but if you guys want to do that, you guys have that option. Is there any questions?
My work is in writing and editing business proposals. Some of them have been international, all of them have been in the English language.
Mm-hmm.
And frankly, some of the writing I've seen out there is really not that good, domestic or foreign origin. How important is it for people to have really skillful English or skillful whatever the native language is of the people that you wish to do business with?
So let me just make sure I understand the question correctly. Are you asking about the people who are importing to the United States or the foreign nationals that we're dealing with?
A few foreign nationals, but some importers as well. And,
Okay.
and some of the writing coming out of this country isn't that good anymore.
Thank you for your question. So it's more than the writing, it's more the regulation, understanding what it is, and then filing the proper paperwork. But that's what's important. English is important. You need to understand English because you want to understand the regulations. But that's why you have to have either learn it yourself or have an expert help you. Like I know this is a very high level. We don't even have enough time to cover all this stuff. I go in depth about NAFTA or free trade agreements, anti-dumping, just so many things that we have available that I can give you. There's just not enough time. But as long as I just encourage you to have a foundational knowledge and then get an expert guidance and you'll be fine. You don't have to be the best writer, so just make sure the person you're working with, like, let's say you wanna dispute, to answer your question, like, let's say Customs says you're being penalized for this, Customs brokers can dispute it for you. We have to be good writers. We have to be, because then we're just like, because it's like, we're lawyers without the license. We just have the government licensing us to be the customs broker. We will let them know this is wrong because you had a previous case where it was okay, then please return it to the way it was. And customs would actually agree with your ruling and give it to you, and you don't have to pay duty for that product, or you don't have to pay that penalty. Anybody else?
I have a question.
Yes.
Say you're importing something, say, from South America, and a friend of mine import a vehicle from Colombia. And it's not, I think it's an open container, roll on or roll off or something like that. But it's a shared container with other companies. The concern is things being placed inside your shipment that don't get you in trouble. Narcotics. How would you deal with that?
Great question. I'm so glad you brought that up. So there are two individuals that are going to be responsible, multiple actually, responsible for the situation. The shipping line for allowing those drugs or for not even overseeing what's happening. So the shipping line owner is responsible. And then the importer. So you can't say, because you're responsible for it, you can't say I didn't know. Again, you can't claim ignorance. But my goal is with the shipping lines that we work with the freight forwarders we work with, they're very trusted to make sure that doesn't happen. So one thing that I pride myself is having contact overseas. So when you're bringing, let's say you're bringing the vehicle, where is it coming from? Colombia. Let's say I don't have a contact in Colombia yet, but let's say I have an individual in Colombia. When we're bringing that, when we're storing the vehicle in the container, I'm going to make sure that this individual actually inspects it and see what's happening. And then when it gets here, we'll be like, okay, this is what's in the vehicle. Because we encourage you don't put anything inside it because it's not a storage. But we make sure that before it even leaves the place, we do our due diligence so that you're not in that kind of place, in that situation. Same thing from Turkey, same thing from Egypt. We aim to protect our clients so that doesn't happen. That's why a lot of people stay under the table to freight forwarders, because they have things that they have to hide, and a lot of freight forwarders will go with it because it's a lot of money. So it would make like, let's say $2 million a year and only $400,000. So it's very important that the people we work with are trusted.
Do you have contacts in the Philippines as well?
I have one contact in the Philippines, but majorly right now it's in the Middle East, like Egypt, Dubai, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and then also Ethiopia. What else? I think that's about it. And then Morocco, those countries. But having contacts can be arranged. Let's discuss. Yes.
You mentioned something on the investigation of the conversion of we and you have to check the city number and everything. How are we gonna do that?
We do it for you. Okay, so when you're exporting from the United States, the people, you're screening yourself, you're screening your employees, you're screening the end user, and who the end user is going to send it to. Because the Bureau of Industry and Security, they're placing a new rule where they're like, every year you're going to provide us a report. Because I had a client who wanted to send technology from the United States to overseas. I was like, oh no, you need to, whatever technology you're sending here commercially, whoever touches it, let's say it's broken and they take it to the tech needs to be screened. I was like, you need to let me know because we need to screen them first. Because that individual can take our schematics, our code, and give it to a foreign source like China or Russia, and then it traces back to you. Then who goes to jail? What's your name? Brother Hussein. We don't want that, so we want to provide. We want to prevent that by screening individuals, and we do it on a continuous basis, and we get updated if any changes happen right away. So let's say I screened that individual, that Russian individual, and they turned out to be clean. But in an hour, things change because the government reports it, and you didn't know about it, you're still responsible. So we make sure that that doesn't happen because it's a continuous loop that we get notification. This person, we have software for that, but this person is on the denied list. And then if you do your due diligence beforehand, we could show the government, see, we did our due diligence, we just didn't know that it changed last minute. As soon as we send out our product. And because of that, they can be lenient towards it. answer your question. Yeah, but we screen a lot of people. I screen including my clients. When they're like, I don't need, I'm like, no, you need to be screened because I don't know who you are. I can't even do business with you when you're exporting, especially sensitive technology, unless I screen you and the US government approves that you're in the clear. So it's like a continuous base background investigation that we do for our clients and for ourselves to protect the company. Yes.
Do you also do or provide help for people who are doing import and export of like real estate? So I don't have the buyer and the seller.
So, are you connecting that? Like, I guess how are you, if you're not doing anything, what are you doing? Like, I'm trying to figure it out. Are you bringing the product here and then getting them to?
No, so they're like, we contact the buyer, they need a full product, and then we have a bunch of sellers on our list that we know, and so.
That's actually pretty good. I usually you charge a fee to that individual because the people you know, the connections you have, that's valuable. So you would do like a fee structure of how much you're going to charge these individuals when you're connecting them with the seller. People will pay a lot of money for trust. So because at the end of the day, it costs us a lot of money when we don't trust these individuals.
I mean, the product will not come to United States, we from approval. From country from Brazil to China. Okay?
That would be, okay, so let's say a product is coming from Brazil and it's going to Germany, right? And you're the one arranging it, and there's a US product in there, and you're aware of it,
There's no US product.
then that would be outside of the US regulations. You would deal with those two countries. Sounds good? Okay. Anyone else? Yes.
I work in energy commodities. How different is that compared to other traded products? I kind of have trouble.
No problem. So the Environmental Protection Agency would be the Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, you would have to follow their guidelines depending on where you want to send it, what is it, how much is it, the quantity. It would be like a very specific list that I would answer. Ask it and we can, if you have a question as well.
So just coming into when you were talking about a transaction happening and the reservations that you could place for that product being exported or imported, is there a time frame for that for your own product? Or let's just say you have something imported, the deal's done, and then 5 years down the line, right, it's used somewhere. Within the US, do you have like a term of liability for yourself?
Yes. So as soon as you find out a violation happened, inform the government. Let them know U.S. Customs, I didn't know, but now that I know, here you go. Because you reported yourself, what you did is very severe where it's like affects national security, you're going to get penalized financially, but it's not going to be as much as they would have if you didn't report it yourself. If you didn't, the government will. They will. They want their money. Yeah. They want their money. Because one of them was this individual, the CEO. He was sending micro circuits to China. And he used to label them computer parts. So this person knew what he was doing. He was not supposed to send them. He just said computer parts. So after was it 5 or 10 years, the government finds out, and they told him you're going to be in prison for 7 to 8 years, and you owe us $1.1 million. So saying I'm going to get away with it, how are they going to know? Terrible, terrible thing to say and think, because they're going to get you because they want their money no matter what, and they do their due diligence. It could be in a month, it could be in 10 years, but they're going to come back and get you. So if you think you got away with it, you didn't. And then also when you're in business for yourself and you're doing good, you got a lot of haters. People will report you. They get angry with you, and they'll be like, oh, this person did this, so I'm going to go. They call us when we're customs. They're like, oh, I want to report. They report their own family. They're like, my family is illegal. Can you come get them? Like, literally, my boyfriend broke up with me, but he's illegal. He's here. So they would do it to their own close. So whoever you think is close to you is just like, stay ethical. But if you're not, don't share with other people, because they're going to snitch on you. All right? Keep it to yourself. Okay, thank you so much, everybody. You guys, please scan, send me contact information. We'll keep you updated. If you're interested in the course, we'll start June 15th. And thank you so much for your time.
Again, thank you all for coming to this event. Ms. Sumaya, thank you again. This presentation was very insightful into the global trading industry, and I hope that everyone found it beneficial. And please I'll see you at the next event. And if you have any feedback, if you want to learn more about our future events, come see me, come see any of the volunteers. We'll be happy to help. And thank you again for coming.
If you guys have a topic of interest, just let them know, or let me know, and then I'll come back and present So like mostly buyers here, because whenever someone mentions partnership, they'll be like, no, this is my service, I'm gonna buy it or not. And call me, we ask them questions for you, make sure that they stay compliant, they don't have any background that will impact There'll be something that get extremely because they want to know, investors, they want to know that you've done this before. So at the beginning, it's really hard to find investors. But